when it comes to like building your physique and round and using exercise structure and exercise selection, it's just like a big game of Tetris. You've just, over time, you've just got to make all the pieces kind of fit as best as you can, and hopefully they're all just taking you in the right direction. And at certain times you just have to like pull back and realize like, okay, this thing's not going to work right now, but I'm making progress on this. That's okay. Let's just hold those ones and let these ones progress a little bit more. That is a very long game to play, and could be one of the biggest fundamental reasons why a lot of people don't make progress, because they can't see it as a very long game when it comes to building physique.
I'm Kitty Bloomfield, co-founder of New Strength and Saturée, creator of pro-metabolic food supplements and seriously saturated skincare. And today I am here with my co-founder and co-host, Craig McDonald. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I've been told I need to sit back a little bit because if I put my hands like this...
Well, you can have your hands a little bit in.
It's going to
just don't be like this over the table, you know?
Oh, I've got long arms. Okay, but I can sit here like this.
Got my sexiest voice on today.
You sure do. Yeah. You
It's
sound
sick.
like a fucking chainsaw.
Yeah, a little bit sick. Been burning the can. Finally, it's bit me in the ass.
Yeah.
You know? Slow down, Kitty.
Yeah, it's been unusually more busier than usual.
We have, haven't we?
Bit of travel and stuff. Yeah.
Having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's all right. No one's died.
That's right.
It's easy to get back on track. But anyway, someone messaged me, or a few people actually in the last week have messaged me. I can't fucking speak today. I just totally fucked up the intro and we had to start again. Just like, I'm still a bit sick.
Just roll with it, babe. It's all good.
Okay. So I've had a few people message me asking me, what is the best training split? And I thought, this is a great boring topic for Craig to talk about on the podcast. Kidding, I'm kidding.
This could be a 10-part series.
I'm kidding. He's like, oh, great. I can't wait. I'm like, keep it to 20 minutes, would ya?
Impossible.
Yeah.
Absolutely impossible.
There probably isn't a best training split. There's probably a better training split depending on what your level of ability or like how advanced you are or how many days a week you can train or blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Is that how you would?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's all
like
good.
This?
All good points. That's all good points. Yeah.
Even today you were saying to me, because we're going to rejig the program, you're like, I've been thinking.
Yeah.
It's very serious. And he cramps on for about 10 minutes getting to the train. I'm like, you don't need to tell me all this backstory shit. I'm like, just...
Yeah, but you want the training split, or you want to know, what's this? What are you doing here? And it's just like, I need to give you some context.
I never ask you that. I'm like, just tell me what to do.
Well, that's part of it. If you want to know about it, you've got to listen to me crap on.
You'll listen to me because I'm very passionate about this. I'm like, okay, keep going.
Right, listen, I need to listen to you crap on about stuff that I don't care about, like...
True. Feelings.
Just about everything, yeah.
Do you know, Mel just said before, she goes... Oh, one of my new clients was like, did she tell you? Craig's really funny, but Kitty's not that funny. I was like, what? I'm so funny. How rude. Who was this client?
It's pretty accurate. She sounds awesome.
All right, let's get to it.
Seriously.
You know, Daz has got to come out and make a reel tonight.
No, fucking hell. Whose fucking idea was that? I was like, yeah, I'll do one of these one-off. And they were like, yeah, we want to see Dazza.
He's funny, though. I'm going to get him on the podcast, actually.
Have you told him that?
He can't wait.
Oh, fuck.
You're swearing a lot today. Can you dial it in a little bit?
Yeah, sorry. Okay, let's get serious. So when it comes to training splits, let's just take it a little bit from like middle of the road, like someone who's been training before and they're not a ranked beginner, because often I'm doing so many caveats about all these sort of things, and it's like, let's just say the person knows the gym and they're going to the gym and they're training and they want to make sure that they're progressing as best as possible, right? Yeah. So they're a lifestyle lifter, they're not, want to be in the gym, 5 and 6 days a week, and all that. They really want to focus on that 3 to 4 days because that's kind of what works for the schedule, and absolutely you can make fantastic progress doing that. So a couple of things we just need to consider. So let's just say the person's got the capability of doing 4 days and they want to actually be in the gym 4 days. Okay, tick. Secondly, we then need to look at the equipment available in the gym. So we need a bit of an audit, and this is what we get all our clients to do, get a bit of an audit of what equipment's actually available.
Well, should we just assume that they've got everything?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But the point is, I'm just like, that's where considerations need to be made potentially on how you structure your program depending on what exercises are available. But let's just say they've got everything, fucking interrupt me again. That they've got everything there. So it's like, okay, 4 days, plenty of gym equipment. They don't have any injuries or any considerations like that, because that obviously would then dictate, some of the exercise they may need to do. But let's just say it's a clean slate, everything's good. And that the goal is to build muscle across their entire body. All right? They're not someone's like, I just want a bigger ass and not much else, which is
everyone out there.
But let's say they want a well-rounded physique. So we go, okay, cool. Within a 4-day split, and generally I like to start at like a minimum kind of volume. So, that might be, say around, for an intermediate, maybe around 8 sets total per week per body part. So they might do 8 sets of back, 8 sets of chest and shoulders, 8 sets of quads, 8 sets of hamstring glute type exercise, and then the biceps and the side laterals sort of sprinkled in there, something like that. And that might look like, usually in most scenarios where it's a 4-day split, that might look like an upper-lower split. So they do 2 days of lower body, 2 days of upper body, and that kind of, you basically just split those body parts. So if you're doing 8 sets of back, you do 4 on one day and 4 on the other day, chest, and that's a very, very easy way to basically just get started. And then you just need to simply assess your execution of the movements that you select to make up those particular sets per week, how much effort is going into, and then progressive overload to the point where you start to understand where a real kind of fatigue sets in. Generally, from a program, you want to be getting anywhere between like 8 to 12 weeks. So 12 weeks is going to, if you're basically getting 12 weeks and you're still feeling fine,
you're not training hard enough.
You're probably just not training hard enough, right? So generally around 8 to 12 weeks is where we start to see a bit of a drop off in terms of performance, desire to be in the gym, restlessness, maybe sleep's getting a bit affected, whatever, and that's where you want to kind of pull that back. But the thing is, you have to get to that point and kind of feel what that's like to know what your level is. And then you can kind of assess and kind of go, okay, these are the exercises, this is how many sets I was doing. Was I making progress up to that point? Yes, I was. Right, I've just tipped over that bucket. So that's generally a pretty good sign, right? The program's worked well, you've had progressive overload, you've gotten a decent stint out of it, and you've continued to make progress. So an upper lower is generally a kind of more popular and kind of the one that makes sense. After that, you could do like a 4 split where you do like full body each day. Generally, if you're going to do a full body split, your total volume might need to come down because you're working all of your body parts in one session, and that is quite fatiguing. So you might bring it from 8 sets per week down to like 6 sets, 5 or 6 sets per week, something like that. And again, there's no right or wrong answer with that. Again, it's just like what makes sense to you, what would you enjoy to do, and what can you make progress with over an 8 to 12 week period, right? If you're adding weight to the bar, you're getting more reps, you're working in that progressive overload manner, you should seeing those changes in your physique week to week. If you do it, even if you're doing like in a muscle gain phase, do your photos like every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that, you should still see those changes. And then you kind of got other splits where you could do something like you could do 2 full body days and then 1 upper and 1 lower day. That can be quite beneficial. And then you can do things where you do like maybe a little bit more advanced people who are doing a little bit more work. They can do a push-pull leg split. So they might do like Monday push, which would be like chest, shoulders, and triceps. Tuesday might be pull, where they do deadlifts, pull downs, rows, etc. Then they might have Wednesday off, and then Thursday they do their big leg day where they do their hack squats and all that stuff. They might have Friday off, and then Saturday they might do push again. So they do a variation where they do chest, shoulders, and triceps, but different exercises. So it's a chest push B, and then Sunday off, and then Monday they might go to pull B, day off, and then Wednesday legs B, and then they return to A again. So they have sort of 2 separate splits, and they're rolling through that. That can be a little bit more of an advanced split. can be a nice change up as well. Like if you've gone from doing something like full body, upper lower to something like that, you're doing a little bit more volume per body part. You can rotate through all of those structures. I'm always certainly when I'm coaching people, to really get an understanding of what they like, what they want to work on, what equipment's available, all these things. Like I ask a lot of questions and then sort of try and find a split that they really believe in and that they enjoy. Because at the end of the day, with all of this, there is no right split. All splits will work.
Yep.
Right? All you need to do is take into account the variables around recovery, how you enjoy to it, what exercises you're doing. Because certain splits, if you're doing full body, say like 4 days a week, but you're also doing a lot of free weight exercises, you're doing back squats, deadlifts, bent over rows, different like that's, you will probably adjust certain exercises to make that split work. So there are considerations with that point of it. But the reality is, it's like, for most people, I've always found is that if you just find a training split that you enjoy, pick the exercises within the movement patterns that you enjoy, set up a parameter and just sort of say like, oh, let's just, anywhere between 6, 7 or 8 sets per week per body part, let it run its course, see what the outcome is, right? I think a lot of people program hop, and I've been guilty of this back in the day of going, oh, I'm not seeing progress after like a 2 to 3 week period.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing I need to make this change. I need to do it. And the reality is, no. There's always a lag period, even for advanced athletes. When you change exercises and structure, there's like a 3 to 4 week, just neurological build-up of you develop the skill for those exercises, the sequence that those exercises are in, the way the days are structured, when the rest days are and that sort of thing. Your body needs to get conditioned to that new way of doing things. And that can be 2 weeks, it can be 3 weeks, it can be 4 weeks, depending on also what you're doing with your rep ranges and how you're progressively overloading during each session. So there's those considerations, but the reality is there's always going to be, let's say, like a 4 week period to let it sort of build up. And then between, say, 4 and 12 weeks, or maybe you might only get to 9 weeks or 12 weeks, depending on when you need to deload, is where you're ultimately going to make that progress. And then when you get to the end of that progress, you then need to assess, say, all of your tier 1 movements. So like whatever your big squat-based movement is, whether it's a barbell back squat or a Smith squat or a hack squat or leg press, whatever it is, your hinge movement, your deadlift variation, your push variation, your big upper body pulling variation, your overhead press variation, all the big kind of key movements. You need to look at those as they are and go, have I improved on all of these lifts comparative to the previous structure that I've used? If the answer is no, then you're feeling overly fatigued and some of those things haven't progressed or they've even gone backwards, then that's how you assess that maybe that structure and those exercises within that structure weren't really working well enough. One of the cool things about Recomposer, the app that we use to log all our training, is that you can actually, when you go into the exercise history, it will tell you at the top your very best ever performance, right? And certain movements I mightn't have used for a while, and I'll look at it and I'm like, oh, my best performance was in February 2022. And I did this weight for this many reps. I'm like, oh, that was pretty good. And then when I click on it, it actually shows me the actually particular program structure that I was doing then. I'm like, okay, so that was the structure that I was using then, and that was the lift that I was doing then. So when you have enough programs that you've actually logged properly and done it all properly, you can look back on that and kind of go, okay, this is really interesting. These exercises were progressing, but these exercises didn't on this particular structure. If I want these exercises to progress, I need to change the structure or potentially bring the volume down on those ones to let these ones progress a little bit more. And it's just, when it comes to like building your physique and using exercise structure and exercise selection, it's just like a big game of Tetris. You've just, over time, you've just got to make all the pieces kind of fit as best as you can. And hopefully they're all just taking you in the right direction. And certain times you just have to like pull back and realize like, okay, this thing's not going to work right now, but I'm making progress on this. That's okay. Let's just hold those ones and let these ones progress a little bit more. And it's just, that is a very long game to play. And this could be one of the biggest fundamental reasons why a lot of people don't make progress, because they can't see it as a very long game when it comes to building physique. It's a very, very long game. And there's going to, I mean, I'm constantly overthinking and manipulating my program all the time. Yeah, because I'm looking at my biofeedback. I'm looking at how I'm recovering. I'm looking at my progress over my previous blocks. You know, I'm looking at the stresses that are going on. Like, I'm looking at all these things that potentially will impact the outcome of what I believe is the right program to be doing right now for what I need. So, what are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
Just laughing at you and how you overthink it. And I'm like, just give me the fucking program. Like, whatever. Just make these changes. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. But I mean, that is a pretty awesome attitude that you've always had, because you've just like, you've always just been, but this is how you apply to everything in your life. You're just like, just tell me the basics, right? Point me in the right direction and I'll just run as hard as I can. You know,
just figure it out.
Yeah. It
doesn't always work.
No, but you've always just, like, it is one good thing about you. You've never overcomplicated your training. You've just gone, I know I need to have a really good deadlift variation and some sort of squat variation to press. I don't need much more back because I've always been a good deadlifter and my back's already developed enough. Like, you've already, over time, you've come to these conclusions because you're just like, well, here's the program. I'm just going to train it as hard as possible. And it really, at the end of the day, we want to be specific and nuanced and make sure we're getting the most out of it as possible. But really, at the end of the day, any program will work. And if you train it fucking hard enough, you will make progress. Yeah. But
I ain't a bodybuilder, you know, competing in Mr. Olympia. So, you know,
well,
it's...
yeah. But like, you've always believed, you're like, if I get a really strong deadlift, then my posterior chain is going to look like I've got a really strong deadlift. And if I can do chin-ups, then my back, my lats are going to look like I can do lots of chin-ups. And if I squat lots of weight properly, then my legs and my glutes are going to look like I can squat lots of weight properly. Like, it's that as a basic fundamental is what's going to work for every person. And then as you become more advanced, you start to realize a little bit more that potentially there's some exercises, other exercise variations that might be a little bit more beneficial to allow you to continue. Like, I was always a big squatter for a long time. I love squatting. I learnt from the best, and I always believe you need to squat. I don't squat at all anymore. And my legs are as big as they've ever been. Like, my quads are as big as they've ever been, because I just realized that the squat is very taxing. I was getting to the point where I was just constantly having anxiety going to the gym and going, I've got to try and squat 4 plates aside now.
It is a bit, like, you do. It's taxing. You've got to be like, I think, have no other stresses in your life. You've got to,
and you got to love that. And I like, for me, I wasn't really tied to any movement. I was just like, I just wanted.
Well, you're not a powerlifter and you hate powerlifting.
No, well, it's not something that really excited me all that much. But
look where Henry's going. Yeah, Henry. Oi, Henry. We can't let our sausage dog go upstairs. He's probably going
to take a shit.
Probably on Craig's rug.
Fucking hate that dog. So yeah, I just, I realized that I was just like, well, are there other movements that I could just do better? And for a long time, because I was training at home, we just had the squat rack and whatever. And it's just like, I started going to the gym, I started using the hack squat and whatever. And I was like,
pretty fun.
Come on, my fucking quads are just so sore.
The V-squat.
The V-squat and stuff. And I just, it started to become more apparent that if you can really find exercises that you connect with, like when you do them, like even in the warm-up when you're doing them, you're like, oh man, I can really
Well, it's definitely not like low bar back squats. When I was low bar back squatting is the most taxing.
Yeah,
it's fucking hard.
You're just trying to move so much weight at that point. And it's like...
I just wanted to get to 125. Once I got there, I was happy. Yeah, and I was like, all right, no more.
And that was awesome.
Now I need to get hack squats 125.
Yeah. That's right.
That's right. But
you're looking at it from a performance of like, if I can do my hack squats, which I know has a big stability element, if I go full range of motion, each rep is going to be identical. So therefore, if the weight is going up and the reps are going up, then it's standardization. You're going to be getting that stimulus. Yeah. And you're just equating that with a performance goal equates to a physique goal. It is absolutely the case. You have to have some, if you really want to change your physique to the very best of your ability, you have to believe that you can become capable of lifting massive amounts of weights that you never thought possible.
Yeah, and you can.
You can.
But it just takes time. You got to chip away. It takes a long time, unfortunately.
Decades.
But that's why you got to enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy
Yeah.
lifting. I can't wait to feel good again and lift again.
You have to find that there's like, I don't go into the gym now and go, oh, fucking legs today, fuck yeah, or like
not anymore.
chest and back, yeah, fuck yeah. Like it's not like that. It's just like,
This is what I do.
This is what I do, and I just do it.
Yeah.
Right? And there's plenty of times where I'm in the gym where I'm like, I probably would rather be somewhere else. You know, I'm a little bit fatigued, I'm dragging my feet, I'm a little bit stressed or whatever, but I'm like, the benefits always outweigh the negatives. Like, there's never a time where I might start a workout where I'm like, I really don't want to be here, but when I finish the workout, I'm always like, I'm really glad I did that workout.
Yeah, and like we've talked about in previous podcasts, you're not always going to make progress. There's going to be times when you have to dial the weights back, where you might hit the same weight, every week, and that's totally fine. But anyway, we're digressing from our topic. So, because, I just want to wrap this very interesting podcast up.
So, different splits as you could do. Oh, hi, Winston.
Winston's joined us. So just a quick, again, so what are the different splits?
So
let me, if I can repeat them. See if I've listened.
Okay, this should be good.
Full body.
Yeah.
Push, pull legs. Yeah. Upper, lower.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I remember.
Yeah, they're
that's
kind,
it. Okay,
they're kind of
good.
the main
Yeah.
ones. If you're doing you can do a 3-day version of all of those. Obviously, you just add rest days in between. A good 3-way split also is a full body lower upper or 3-day upper lower.
Yeah.
And then you can do a 4-day split of that where you have 2 full body days and then the upper lower, which I think I mentioned.
Yeah.
So they're all really good. And then obviously within those, depending on how you set up your rep ranges, you know, and then you can add intensity techniques like drop sets or you can do.
But that's
total
not
rep
what this
training and
podcast
stuff
is
like this.
about.
No.
So we've talked about that on another podcast.
Have we?
We have.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very interesting,
You
isn't
just
it?
love to keep talking about it, don't you?
Well,
It's your jam.
my jam.
Yeah. No, but that was great because I've had a couple of questions about, what should my training split be? So
Yeah.
there you go, everyone.
Yeah. Just pick one that you like the sound of.
And you enjoy it. And try it. And you might
and
not
just-
like it. And you might have to, just be like Kitty. Just
you're
try
not-
it and
you're
see if
not
you don't
locked
enjoy
into
it.
But I would always say if you've picked the right exercises within a structure, generally you should be able to run that for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, like a long time. Especially if you're a novice to intermediate lifter. As you advance, you make less progress and you might need to make a little bit more frequent changes. But for most people, I've had programs I've run for 12 months.
Yeah.
And it's just, you deload and then you reset your numbers and then you go again. You deload, reset, and over that 12 months, it's like at the end of every block, all of those lifts have continued to progress.
Yep.
And it's just like, you're not going to see huge changes after, like 1 block, 2 block. You need to string like 4, 5, 6, like 12 months together of like, okay, this is what my physique looked like at the start of the year. Now it looks like at the end of the year.
Yep.
Like that's how you have to look at it. Like if you're looking at it on a week-to-week basis, mate, you are going to drive yourself bonkers because you're like, this isn't working. I'm like, it is working. It's just so small at this stage that you can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. As always, take a screenshot of the episode and share your biggest takeaways on Instagram stories and tag me at KITTYBLOMFIELD. And each month I pick someone and they win a tub of Saturée Premium Collagen valued at $79. And we will be back again next week.